Well, good afternoon, everybody. What a great day for Nebraska. What a great day. I don't know if you can feel it, the energy of our young people being here to inspire us all, to stand up and say, my voice needs to be heard. I just can't tell you what kind of testament of grit and determination you give, how much you inspire all of us. I think it's one thing all of us agree on, right? That we all agree our kids are future and we're never, ever going to give up on a kid. I think that it's really easy to see what kind of impact Charlie Kirk had on all of us and on the next generation. I had the opportunity to visit with Erica at lunchtime, and she's doing great. She refuses to give in. She is championing her family, and she's championing Turning Point USA as a CEO. And I think that I wish everybody could visit with her like I got to be inspired to say we can never, ever, ever give up. This piece touches me deeply because I had the opportunity to be with Charlie several different times. And I think back in my life, I hit the jackpot. I had mom and dad. We didn't have anything, but we had everything, if that makes sense. But one thing my dad said, he said, boys, there's 10 of us in the neighborhood, and there's Joe over there. And Joe sees it different. We got to get along. And what that subconsciously said to me is I wouldn't have been here because it said be quiet. And I think that it's really, really important for all of us to get comfortable being uncomfortable, to be able to speak to the issues. And so Charlie inspired me. Charlie's vision has inspired countless Americans to just simply stand up and talk about faith, talk about our family, talk about our love of country, talk about our values. I don't see anything political about that. I see it as right and wrong, God and Satan, and it's really, really important. The other piece is I had the opportunity to be with many of you on the vigil, Charlie's vigil a couple nights after the assassination on the campus. And I would just tell you, it's one of those moving experiences that you'll never forget, as there was extraordinary sorrow, and then there was incredible joy, there was incredible light when we started talking about what can be done when we work together and we have the power of belief. So I think that it's really, really exciting today that we're talking about announcing a partnership with Turning Point USA to get kids in our high schools, calling it Club America, so that we can help young people learn more about the Constitution, develop leadership skills, and be engaged in civil engagement. Civil engagement. That's what Charlie's approach was. He inspired me. I hope that these young people here today inspire all of us to take a step further, to just stand up and say we can have good debate, we can talk, we can work through it. So our future of Nebraska and our future of our country is extraordinary because of our youth. The next generation will be bolder and more courageous than what my generation's been. They will make sure all views are heard, and I couldn't be more proud. Because of our youth, this country will continue to be the greatest country in the history of the world, free, strong, resilient, and a land of just unending opportunity. So it's really, really exciting that we have the partnership with Club America. There's been extraordinary growth just in the last couple months, but excited to do it. And I want to welcome Attorney General Hilgers being at my side. We partner on fighting for kids, protecting kids, and I'm really, really pleased that you're here and a part of this. General, thank you.
Governor. Thank you. I'm really sorry that I think you put the shortest person right behind me. I'm going to block your view. I'm sorry. Really incredible day today. I do want to reflect just briefly on how sad of a day it was when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I'll say in my entire adult life, I don't know if I felt emotionally as down as I have. And part of the reason is because Charlie Kirk, whether you agreed with him or not, I agreed with him with almost every position that he took. The thing that was most devastating was that he did it, I think, in the way that we all should do it, and he did it in the spirit of free speech and the best of America. He actually talked to the people that disagreed with him. He engaged with them on the intellectual basis of their ideas. He was able to grapple with people of different opinions and actually work through those things. And in a world in which our political culture is torn apart and is more poisonous by the day, Charlie and people like him were an antidote in that in a time of darkness, he provided some light. And to have someone gunned down for just speaking their beliefs was so antithetical to what I think we believe as Americans that it was incredibly dark. Now, the good news is the response to that is sort of a revival, I think, in the greatest of American traditions, which is reflected here today. Not just the partnership that the governor is announcing, but all of the chapter leaders that we have today who are here in front of us, everyone behind me. This is the antidote to political discord. This is the antidote to poison in our culture. It is people, young people, people of all ages who are approaching issues not with violence and not with hate and not with yelling or disruption. They're approaching it based out of love and joy and courage, and talking about the things that they believe in, using free speech and this constitutional structure that we've been gifted by generations before us. And I think a day like today is one to be celebrated because not just of the partnership, because of the people behind it. And I can't wait. I understand we have 10% of Nebraska schools, and there's maybe 300. So we got about 290 to go. Or maybe it's less. I'm trying to do math in my head.
You're good. You're a good lawyer.
Yeah. So we got a ways to go, but it's going to start with kids like this, and it's the same thing that I tell my kids. I have 4 little kids, and they ask me, Dad, why are you in politics? Everyone seems to be so upset, and the reason what I tell them is, if good people don't stand up and actually get involved in the political process, then we're going to be left with people who hate one another and who believe in the things that tear Americans apart. And so a day like today, when we are surrounded by so much goodness and so much positivity, I just want to encourage everyone who's been involved. I'm grateful to the governor. I'm grateful for everyone at Turning Point for all their work, and I can't wait to see really the fruit that blooms from these seeds. So with that, I'm going to introduce Nick Koka, who's the Enterprise Director of Turning Point.
Thank you, Attorney General. Good afternoon, Nebraska. How about these amazing students? I want to thank Governor Pillen and Attorney General Hilger for standing with these brave and incredible students and student leaders. My name is Nick Koka. I am the Enterprise Director for Club America, Turning Point USA's high school program. It's the largest civic and patriotic organization of its kind in the country. Club America is a future leaders club. It's where students who aspire to make a difference in their community, in their state, and in their country begin that journey. Today, we're more than 3,200 chapters nationwide, growing every day. And here in Nebraska, we're nearly 40 chapters between college and high school in the state. And with this partnership, we'll be heavily investing in growing our presence in Nebraska. We'll aim to double our footprint across the Cornhusker state on our way to our end goal of putting a Club America chapter in every Nebraska high school. Club America's students learn how to lead in the way that Charlie Kirk believed leaders should lead. High school is a pivotal moment in a young person's life. It's when I first began paying attention to what was going on in my country. Our students lead meetings where current events are discussed thoughtfully and respectfully. Charlie understood that open debate is not something to fear, but an opportunity to make your voice heard, to be challenged, and to learn from differing perspectives. Through Club America, students also gain opportunities to connect with civic leaders, public servants, and mentors who open doors to future careers and lifelong service. Shout out to our Gretna high school leaders who are here today. They hosted Lieutenant Governor Kelly a couple of months ago, and that's just one example. You know, I've worked for Turning Point USA for over 10 years. I joined when we were a small startup just working to make a difference on college campuses. Charlie believed deeply in the future of this country and that it belongs to its youth. And it's our responsibility to ensure that they're informed, empowered, and prepared to inherit this republic and carry on freedom for the next generation. I'll tell you a quick story about how much Charlie loved Club America. I helped launch the high school program. We initially had called it TPUSA High School back in 2022, and a couple years later we were figuring out how do we tailor this more specifically to high school students? How do we make this program specifically speak to them? And I came up with the idea of calling it Club America, and we pitched it to Charlie. We were a little nervous about changing the name, but he loved it instantly and was completely sold. And so we're working on the rollout. We hadn't gone public yet, and I started getting a couple calls from staff saying, "Nick, are we changing the name?" I'm like, "How do you know that?" And they said, "Well, I listened to Charlie's radio show, and he announced it on his radio show today." He got a call from a father whose son was in high school asking how he could help, and he made the full pitch for Club America. And that's something I'll always cherish, how enthusiastically Charlie supported our high school efforts. And though his life was tragically cut short, his mission still lives on through us and through these remarkable young people standing behind me. One of those students is Emma Smith, the chapter president at Creighton University. And I want you to hear directly from Emma about what it means to lead a Turning Point USA chapter and the challenges that she has faced along the way. So please join me in welcoming Emma Smith.
Definitely too short for this. Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly an honor to be in a room full of leaders who care so deeply about the future of this country. Like Nick said, my name is Emma Smith, and I serve as the chapter president of Turning Point USA at Creighton University. Our chapter had not been recognized by our university for several years, and just last week, after about a year of really hard work, we were officially reapproved. So yes, very exciting time, and also for transparency, I'm graduating this May, and I'm looking for a job, so if anyone wants my resume afterwards, I promise this speech counts as leadership experience. But in all seriousness, standing here today is not something I ever imagined for myself. A few years ago, my mom used to send me tweets from Charlie Kirk. At the time, I was convinced I had politics all figured out, so I just completely disregarded her messages. I thought I knew exactly where I stood, and looking back, what my mom recognized before I did was that I wasn't thinking on my own yet. I was repeating popular slogans and talking points instead of asking real questions. Turning Point USA changed that. It didn't tell me what to think. It challenged me to ask questions, think critically, engage with ideas, discover what I believed, and to have the confidence to stand behind those beliefs. And that confidence has been tested in many ways. I'll be honest, public speaking has never been my strong suit, and for years I dreaded the idea of addressing a room such as this. I'm also someone who cares deeply about relationships, so stepping into chapter leadership meant accepting that not everyone would agree with me anymore, and that leadership sometimes brings misunderstandings, criticism, and even the loss of friendships. That was uncomfortable and at times very, very painful, but Turning Point taught me this. Leadership is not about comfort, it's about conviction. Politics used to be something I avoided entirely. Now it's a part of my everyday life, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because I care deeply about the direction of this country, and I believe my generation has a responsibility to protect what is right, rational, and worth preserving. But that conviction did not appear overnight. It was shaped by leaders who challenged me to think for myself, and none more so than Charlie Kirk himself. I had the privilege of meeting Charlie Kirk twice, moments I now realize as more significant than I understood at the time. Standing next to him, it wasn't hard to notice he was taller than most, which might explain some of his ability to command a room. But what struck me wasn't his height or his intelligence, although he had plenty of that. It was his fearlessness. That fearlessness came from something deeper, a love of this great nation and an unshakable belief in young people. He never spoke down to us students, he called us up. Charlie believed young people were not just the leaders of tomorrow, but the leaders of right now. And if I can be so candid, restarting our chapter was not universally celebrated on campus, and it was far from easy. But Charlie wanted us to think boldly, speak clearly, and have the courage to defend our principles even when it wasn't easy. And through these experiences, I have only reinforced the truth I've learned through Turning Point. The future of the conservative movement is not waiting until our graduation. It's already happening. It's already starting chapters, already stepping into leadership, and already changing the culture. To Turning Point USA, thank you for believing in students before we fully believe in ourselves. And to the leaders in this room, especially Governor Jim Pillen, thank you for investing in the generation that will carry this movement forward. We're working hard to make you proud because the future is not something we will inherit, it is something we are already building. And if Charlie taught us anything, it is that one voice, grounded in courage, can spark thousands more. Thank you, and thank you, Charlie.
Maybe just let me wrap up with a couple comments. I think that the best words came earlier today from Erica. She said, Jim, so grateful, but the goal of Club America is really simple. To get in every high school in America, but to make sure that we don't have just clubs, but we have great kids involved in it so that they're educated. And, you know, if you think about it, I think everybody in this room would remember the first time we voted. So that we are educated, so that we start understanding that process. And if we don't do that in high school, sometimes it can get to be too late. So certainly the goal is very, very achievable, that we can have a chapter in every high school in the great state of Nebraska. And it certainly can be that we can grow and have lots of students involved, and that we can learn from each other, we can interact, so that we truly understand how great the United States of America is, so we understand how great the state of Nebraska is, and that we learn to have civic engagement so that our voices are heard. So thank you all for being here. Really, really proud of our kids. How about a shout out for our kids? Thank you all very much. Congrats.
Thank you, Governor Pillen.
Boss, real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to have all you guys kind of scrunch in a little bit.
Okay.
We're going to do a big group photo with all the elected
Awesome.
speakers and whatnot.
Sideways and squeeze.
Where do you want us?
Come on.
Any other traditional Americans?